but start quickly. So we are on Fort Sherman. This was a famous base for everybody who went to jungle training in Panama. And Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was just here recently saying that we're going to reopen the jungle school. As you can see, these used to be beautiful homes, but they've been, after we left here, they were abandoned. Hola, buenas. Buenas. Those are probably Sena Naval. Those are Air Naval. Those are Panamanian, not really Army. They don't have Army or Navy. They have, they're by treaty not supposed to have one, but we won't get into that. But in any case, you see how the buildings have been left here. And so literally what would be, you should see where this property is at. It's right on the water at the mouth of the canal. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, this would be worth millions of dollars, each of these homes, just because of the location. And in the past, they were beautiful, but they were just left to rot. And there must be tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars worth of infrastructure that was just left to rot. And it's a whole row of homes here, and there's many more homes just like this in different parts of Panama. Beautiful homes. For those who've been in military homes before, you know what I'm talking about. And often one of the beauties of being in the U.S. military was actually, I got stationed in San Francisco at the Presidio as an example. I went to language school there, and it was some of the most prime real estate in the whole United States. And the reason the military had it was because it was right at the mouth of San Francisco Bay by the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge launched right off of the base that I used to be stationed on, where I went to language school. Many people say the language school is in Monterey. It was, but I went to the overflow campus in San Francisco. So what I'm getting to is the homes were absolutely beautiful, and it's in prime real estate because that prime real estate is in a very important strategic place, whether that was Monterey or the Presidio of San Francisco or here. I mean, this is prime real estate. This is the mouth of the canal. This is the Atlantic side of the canal. And on the other side of that is the port that China has the concession for. It's the Hutchison port, one of the Hutchison ports that BlackRock is trying to get, but China is making it difficult, of course. You can see these guys are pretty fit, and their counterpart, not really counterparts, but their comrades in Cinefront are out in the jungles all the time. They're extremely fit. So our forces train with them still, and we'll be training with them and enabling Panamanian forces as well, because, hola, buenas, because this is teamwork, and we have to work with Panama to secure Panama, because China will take it. Somebody's going to take the Panama Canal. That's just the way it is. Panama is a big juicy lamb with pork chops hanging around its neck, and China wants it, because this is, if you control the Panama Canal, you can literally destroy the United States, or at least basically shoot one of our legs out. And so, and the rest of it would not be as difficult to clean up. So look at this. This is an old building that the U.S. military used. It was absolutely beautiful. You can look at the old photos and see how it used to be. The people who lived here before, I've met with many of them. Some will see this video, and some of them will see this for the first time, how badly it's dilapidated. And you'll see there's a tree growing out of that one with what looks like some sort of bees circling around that tree. We'll keep our respectful distance from those critters. This is far from over with China. China has a different sort of strategy than Americans are used to. Actually, let me be careful with that. Some Americans have used the same sort of strategy before, which is to slowly encroach and take over. Obviously, that's a large part of how the United States was actually formed and made, is slow encroachment, and we outbred the Indians. We were breeding more children than the Indians. And we had people coming over on ship after ship after ship, Camp of the Saints style, but it was, centuries ago. Like, for instance, my family coming over, my mother's side in 1609 and got shipwrecked on the Bahamas. I'm sorry, in Bermuda. And finally made it to Jamestown in 1610. That's what they were doing. They were coming over Camp of the Saints style. I got to get that photo right there. So I want to show people who used to live here what it's like now. So there's another entire neighborhood, or there's more than one, but there's another somewhat large one that Masako's been in. Masako's been here many times. The rope wasn't there before, but that not that I recall, but that looks like an old rope. It looks like it's been in the sun quite a while. Maybe they had just taken the rope down or something, or they just used an old rope. And there's our friends who grew up here. These are actually Zonians. These actually are Zonians, and one day they will be only in a zoo. Like, to meet actual Zonians. They'll be traveling around. This is a Zonian. Yeah. In the old days, when before America was formed, English would take, for instance, Indians back to England to show how safe and friendly the Indians were. Of course, because they were trying to get people to colonize United States, or it was America back then. It wasn't United States. So they were trying to get colonists to go to America. And so they would take Indians over, friendly Indians. If one way or another, they were made friendly. Actually, when my family was shipwrecked on Bermuda, there was 2 Indians with them from the Powhatan tribe who had already been in England. And then they got shipwrecked back on Bermuda. By the way, one of the ships that came to Japan in 1853 and 1854 with the black ships was named the Powhatan. It was named after those Indians, not after the Indians that were on the they were from that tribe. Anyway, bottom line, all the English seem to know the Powhatans, but Americans never know them for some reason. Even though, one of the ships that Commodore Perry was on was called the Powhatan. It was 4 ships, right? The black ships. Hola, buenas. So, as you can see, we always feel welcome in Panama. So this is why I'm very cautious with saying, I always want to say, whatever happens here, it needs to happen respectfully and very slowly at a speed that Panamanians will accept, because they generally are very welcoming to Americans. There's a small subset of communists, for instance, Soontraks, who are anti anything that's not them, and you know how communists are, and they're quite violent. But they're a subset, and most of the Panamanians don't seem to like them. But actually, you know who can say the most? This guy.
Oh, gosh.
Matt Tomlin.
Oh, boy.
He's the one that's holding the microphone.
I haven't prepared. My
here,
wife,
man,
Becky and we grew up coming to this base. Like, I literally come here as a little kid and go swimming. There's a beach just down the road called Devil's Beach. And you'd be amazed how many U.S. soldiers drowned at that beach over the years. And I would say to the soldiers that are coming back, be careful with Devil's Beach, because you get these young guys that were from like Nebraska or Kansas. They'd never been in the ocean, and it has really pounding heavy surf. And I always remember growing up near here, there would always be a guy drowning at Devil's Beach. It's like his first experience with heavy duty ocean. And
they're running formation.
Yeah.
They're going to take a left, though. They're not going to come by us.
These look like Panamanian guys
good.
training.
They are.
Good. Oh, we got to get the good audio.
Yeah. Here, Michael, go. You want me to do it?
Oh,
They're turning. They're turning.
Because the barracks are back that way, man.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Oh.
And they just went out to Devil's Beach. They just ran out to Devil's Beach.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the truck following them like that, that's a U.S. military thing to do.
Yeah.
They always, the U.S. military, well, now they have a medical truck probably because of the vaccines. These so-called vaccines. I'm just guessing. I'm just saying that out of the blue. I don't know that to be true.
Yeah, so realistically, it's very probable.
Can I say one thing about
Yeah,
swimming?
go.
One thing, young soldiers, in peacetime, one of the I don't know if you still have it, but there was a quarterly safety report that the Army put out. And I used to read them every quarter. figuring out how people like me got killed in the military. Because as you know, you do dangerous stuff as part of your daily job. I certainly did because I was in special forces. So, but one of the things I found was that the number one way at that time that soldiers seemed to die in peacetime was drinking and swimming. Drinking and swimming. And it'll be this quarter, so many soldiers died from drinking and swimming. Do not drink and swim. Then they get on to the other ways that stupid soldiers do stupid stuff. But often it was other reasons they died. But anyway, there you go.
Good point.
Yeah, good point. Drinking and swimming don't mix. Becky and I are here realizing this is possibly
Yeah.
going to be the last time we're on this base, because as this gets taken back by the United States, they're probably going to close all this off, and I'm not sure how they're going to do it, because there is a marina up the road that needs access, but they're probably going to close most of it off. This is like the end of an era. In a way, really, this is a perfect base for the Americans to take back, because it has been, as you can see, nothing has been done with it. And there's a whole nother housing area called Turner Heights up in the jungle, which is even more dilapidated and abandoned.
we should go there.
Yeah, we'll go up there next. It's even more dilapidated and abandoned than this place, and it's all just falling into the jungle. And
It was a paradise.
yeah, they might as well make good use of this place, because nothing's being used for it, really, at all.
The cranes that we see on the other side?
Yes.
That's a Chinese food?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That port over there in the background is Cologne, and that's where the other Chinese port that everyone's talking about is located at, the Atlantic entrance. So this whole bay here, the Americans put a big rock break wall outside. It goes all the way around, and that's just to protect the whole entrance to the canal. That's why it's relatively calm here. But when you go outside that break wall, it's usually very, very rough water. But yeah, the United States astronauts trained here. The Apollo mission guys all came here. Neil Armstrong, all of them came here, and they trained. They did their jungle survival training here. And where Becky lives in Gamboa, there was a very famous, he was Embera?
Yeah.
Embera Indian named Anthony Sarko. And he was the guy that trained the astronauts. He died like 5 years ago, I want to say. Yeah.
Trained Austrian.
Yeah, the Embera trained the astronauts.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is an amazing story.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
really is.
But
Yeah.
back in the Canal Zone days, you would come out here, and the troops would be running around, and they would do their jungle training. They were always doing live fire exercises and running
the
around
reason-
at night.
hold on.
Yeah.
The reason that the Embera train the astronauts is not what a lot of people think. Every time I ask Embera where they're from, none of them, they say they don't know. Hello, hola, buenas. But they're actually from the moon. That's why they don't know where they're from. I love Embera, by the way.
They were teaching him how to survive on the moon, after all. Yeah. But I always remember seeing all the troops, and they'd be out in the jungle at night, and there was all kinds of action going on at this place. All kinds of helicopters flying around, and yeah, there was never a dull moment out here. And they say that the training class was really hard, really brutal. And yeah, you can.
Yeah. Chuck Holton was out here 2 times, he said.
Yeah, our
And
friend
for 3
Chuck.
weeks at a time each, and he said it was the most horrible experience both times of his whole life.
Nobody
because
likes jungle
you
school.
sleep on the ground, just on the ground, not even a mat, and you just have things crawling all over you all night, and you just have to live through it and hope it's not a snake or
Let me say something about Embera. Well, I was specifically told by Embera, never sleep on the ground in the jungle. Never. Stressed it. You heard like Lincoln was saying that. Lincoln, never sleep on the ground. So the U.S. Army, the first thing they do is sleep on the ground.
Yes, exactly. That's what Chuck Holton said.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't
said
want to
it was
get this wrong, but
horrible.
Chuck told us the most horrific story where they went. It was here, right?
Yes.
They had to get from point A to point B in the pitch black, and they were running through the jungle, pitch black, and the first guy and the second guy, and I think the third, who was Chuck, went straight off like a 12-foot cliff that they never saw. And they landed on top of each other in this hole back here. And they wound up having to spend the night down there in that hole. They couldn't get him out.
know about that.
Yeah, crazy story.
Oh,
He said it
wow.
was the worst night of his life. That's all I know. Yeah.
Looking for two soldiers in the dark.
Yeah.
That sounds like what happened to 22 Days, who got stuck in the Darien for 22 days.
Yeah.
Remember, he fell down that slope,
Oh, wow.
and he had to wait for some Haitians to come rescue him after about 5 days.
Yeah.
It's
Amazing.
so this area here around us is a vast area of like virgin rainforest behind us, and it goes quite extensively. And there's also
and coral reefs, really beautiful coral reefs, all down the coast of Panama. I mean, just gorgeous, amazing.
so here we are. We're only 50 miles.
Saltwater crocodiles.
We're only
too.
50 miles away from the Pacific Ocean right now, and here the tide in the Atlantic only changes about 1 foot. And the water is usually very clear and beautiful. Only 50 miles away in the Pacific, it changes up to 20 feet. And
Extreme.
it's real interesting how that works. I don't know. Anyway. Hola.
Hola.
So the French idea of building a sea level canal would have been like
A disaster.
Niagara Falls.
A tidal bore.
Exactly.
A giant tidal bore. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Are these like our old book houses, Matt? They're not
I think
really
so.
though,
I don't
because
know.
they don't have